You ready?
The next one on Facebook.
Maybe I already am. Readjourn from closed session. You want to give a report, Chief?
Yeah, on item, do you have the special? So on item conference with labor negotiations, organization, fire chief, due to a new interpretation of the PEPRA law, the fire chief's contract was opened and base salary had been adjusted to compensate the chief for the loss in the pension. It's been moved to the original 165 when the start of the contract began. On item 2.2, conference with labor negotiations, the same consideration has been taken for a battalion chief, an administrative battalion chief that had the same circumstances, and compensation will be moved up so that he's allowed to be compensated for the lost pensionable money that was applied to his pension. On item, in the regular special meeting, or excuse me, the regular meeting, closed session, which is also conducted, unless you want to close that meeting and start the other.
Just do it all and then we'll
Okay.
close it all.
Closed session, the evaluation of the fire chief has been continued until the next meeting, and I believe that you want a closed session scheduled for
Yes.
that?
That's correct.
Okay. And also 2.2, conference with labor negotiations for the firefighter union. We have received requests from both management and the 4317 to start negotiations. The contract's a year out, but we're going to move forward with starting negotiations and work on coming together as a group. So that has been a direction from the board.
All right, we'll close both special meetings and I'll open the regular meeting of the June 20th Lathrop-Manteca board meeting. Roll call.
Chairman John Gish.
Here.
Vice Chair Mark Elliott.
Here.
Director Gloriana Rhodes. Here. Director Jeremy Coe.
Present.
Director Tosh Ishihara.
Here.
Stand for the flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I got lost.
Declaration of conflict of interest.
Oh. Declaration conflict of interest to my left,
None.
to my right.
None.
No presentations. Any public comment?
None at this time.
Consent items.
Consent calendar item 8.1, May 16th, 2019 special board meeting, fiscal year goals and objectives planning minutes. 8.2, May 16th, 2019 regular board meeting minutes. 8.3, monthly register of warrants. 8.4, receive and file May 2019 incident and training report. 8.5, receive and file monthly year-to-date budget report.
Anything to be pulled or entertain a motion?
I make a motion that we approve consent calendar items.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Director Rhodes.
Yes.
Director Coe.
Yes.
Director Ishihara.
Yes.
Vice Chair Elliott.
Yes.
Chairman Gish.
Yes. Number 9, public hearings. 9.1, approve and adopt resolution R 2019-03, fiscal year provisional GAN limit.
I have Haley Salazar is going to go over, acting executive assistant is going to go over the information of what the GAN limit and the approving process.
Item 9.1, approve and adopt resolution R-2019-03, 2019-2020 fiscal year provisional GAN limit, Prop 4 government spending limit. The Auditor Controller's Office provided the district with the proposed 2019-2020 Proposition 4 appropriation limit based on a calculation which figures the percentage change in per capita personal income and the population change factor. The proposed budget for the upcoming fiscal year is $19,717,831. Based on the figures provided by the Auditor Controller's Office, staff is recommending the Fire Board approve and adopt Resolution R-2019-03, 2019-2020 fiscal year provisional GAN limit, Prop 4 government spending limit. Any questions?
Annually, we have to adopt the GAN limit. They have to tell us what our maximum is. We haven't exceeded that. So it's a formality. We have to hold a public hearing and adopt both the GAN limit and the next one will be the tax rates.
Any questions to my left?
Nope.
No.
Any questions to my right?
You do have to open the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Open the public hearing. Do we have any public comment for 2.1 or 9.1?
None at this time?
None at this time.
Closed. Any board comments?
Nope.
no.
No.
I mean, it's nice that there's a considerable difference
Yeah.
from last year's.
Yeah.
Can I entertain a motion?
Is it held two or just one?
They're two different items,
Yeah,
separate.
so will be 9.1, so I'll make a motion to approve Resolution R 2019-03 and 20-19-2020 for fiscal year provisional GAN limit, Proposition 4 government spending limit.
I'll second.
It's been moved and second. Roll call?
Director Rhodes?
Yes.
Director Ko?
Yes.
Director Ishihara?
Yes.
Vice Chair Elliott?
Yes.
Chairman Gish?
Yes. Move to 9.2.
Item 9.2, approve and adopt Resolution R-2019-04, 2019-2020 fiscal year tax rates. The setting of these flat fees and taxes will not change from fiscal year 2018-2019. The charges are in compliance with all laws pertaining to Government Code Section 53978. The tax rates are as follows: residential 0.03, agricultural 0.04, commercial residential 0.05, commercial 0.06, industrial 0.08, and poultry houses 0.02. Any questions?
Open the public hearing. Any public comments?
None at this time.
Close. Board comments? To my left?
Hi, what is that poultry house? Can you explain that?
So poultry house, in the rural area, there's, they're large sheds that have chickens in them. So they call them, they're poultry houses. We still have a couple, I
We-
believe, yeah.
Do we have it in here?
Yeah, in the
We-
rural Manteca.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we used to have that
What-
one over there, the egg farm, the egg
Yeah, egg
ranch.
farm? Yeah.
That was a poultry farm too.
Yeah, but that's why I was wondering if we had any here.
Yeah, so when they did the tax rates in '82 is where they originally started from. Obviously, the poultry farm is 20 cents a square foot, and residential's 30, and agricultural 40 and 50. So the biggest one is industrial, so the cities get hit the most, and the poultry farmers, I think they protested the hardest, and they were able to get theirs reduced down to 20. We had a lot of poultry houses. Rural Manteca used to have probably
Yeah,
5 or 6.
I know these, that,
And they're big. They're big.
yeah, okay.
But it's mostly almonds now, or almonds, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
So I have chickens. How do I change my tax rate?
Yeah, right? Good point.
Easy.
Any questions to the right?
No.
Entertain a motion?
I make a motion that we approve and adopt Resolution R 2019-04, 2019-2020 fiscal year tax rates.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and second. Roll call.
Director Rhodes,
Yes.
Director Ko,
Yes.
Director Ishihara,
Yes.
Vice Chair Elliott,
Yes.
Chairman Gish.
Yes. Moving on to schedule items. 10.1.
10.1 is approve and adopt the resolution to transfer 19-05, transfer of funds from general fund to capital outlay. So every year, we've been transferring funds, and we have the capital outlay is actually on, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But every year in the general fund, we transfer $50,000 in the capital outlay that goes towards projects that we have pending. One of them that we're going to be completing this year, and Chief Madowski is actually taking over the capital improvement plan. He's going to explain to you one of those projects is the pavement. So we've been putting money into the capital outlay account, sort of like our savings account for some of these items that need to be addressed. We identify them and we start funding them through the capital outlay. So when the board, as we do warrants and we write checks and the board approves those checks and we get that approval from you, the transfer of funds has to come through resolution. I can't just transfer funds over. So every year, we're going to be bringing you back money that we're going to be transferring into the capital outlay. Just like we bring you every year, the Measure C money has to be transferred. That has to be done through board approval and resolution.
Alrighty. Got a motion to approve the transfer, resolution 19-05?
I'll make the motion to approve schedule item 10.1 as written.
Second?
I'll second.
Been moved and second. Roll call vote.
Director Rhodes,
Yes.
Director Ko,
Yes.
Director Ishihara,
Yes.
Vice Chair Elliott, Chairman Gish.
Yes.
Okay, so the next item is 10.2. It's the review and approve the strategic operational objective plan for the fiscal year. So I think we covered all of the goals and objectives, so we've attached strategies to those. And so, hey, Ms. Salazar is going to go over the items on that we've, the strategies that we provided for the goals the board set.
Scheduled item 10.2, review and approve strategic operational objective planning for fiscal year 2019-2020. 1, begin to lay a foundation for regional training. Some objectives are train personnel to establish a consortium of quality instructors, establish a regional firefighter 1 academy to be held annually, revive the Rescue Systems 1 training center, and provide classes through the region. 2, continue to establish clearly defined governance policies. Some objectives that we have for that are continue to work with consultant to produce and adopt updated governance policies, maintain an up-to-date policy manual for all line personnel to review and follow, and provide public access to all policies and procedures. Number 3, we have provide a pathway to attain excellent governance practices as an agency. Our objectives for that are to maintain our membership with the California Special District Association, provide training to all board members to obtain District of Distinction accreditation, and apply for the District of Distinction accreditation. 4, we have established new methods of communication that identify district strengths. Our objectives for that are to conduct a quarterly address video to inform the community of district news, host a quarterly Coffee with the Fire Chief event at the fire stations for the public to attend, and to create a year-in review video to publish on social media and the website. Number 5, we have continue to engage the community to support and provide volunteer service to enhance our mission. Our objectives for that goal are to utilize the CERT program members to improve disaster preparedness within the community, continue to support the efforts of Behind the Fire LMFD to enhance community involvement with the Lathrop-Manteca Fire District, and to continue to grow an enhanced and progressive Explorer program.
Looks good.
So we added the one goal with the communication component in there, and these, we did include them in the budget. This is just a preliminary budget, so as we go through the budget, you'll see those in there. But we'll also, if we change them here, then we'll change them in the budget too. So I don't know if the board had any questions or concerns with any of them?
Anything to my right?
No, this is really great. I'm still stand firm that the one goal of the accreditation really needs to be a group goal, not just a goal for the chief, as it is our outcomes that make it completed or not.
I agree.
To the left?
Looks great. Good job.
Thank you.
Oh, looks great.
All
We'll just
right.
look for a motion to adopt, and although they will get adopted in the budget, so if you're good with, we'll move forward,
Okay,
if you approve them. I don't think we need a formal motion. or
just do it
anything.
all as one.
Yeah.
Okay, move on to 10.3.
So I'm going to bring up Chief Medowski, and he's going to go over the capital outlay. Chief Medowski, when we first established the capital outlay, Chief Medowski worked very hard on putting that together and making that all come, and then he's got busy, and we took it back, and then now he's got it back. So I want him to get up and present in front of the board. That'll be his project now.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Again, just an update from the previous special meeting that we had with the capital improvement plan. You'll see here the first document as an official financial document of the LMFD. It is still prudent to have an executive summary from the highest level of the organization. That's the fire chief statement there. And then moving forward, I did recognize that the slides, both the chief, when we were talking about it, if there was a way to kind of clean some of that up. And so I moved forward with some suggestions. And you can see here, I kind of broke it down into the administrative portion, and then we'll get into the suppression portion and the prevention. And obviously, there isn't any prevention in the plan itself. But as you can see there, for the administrative, if we just hit the totals, you have Fire Station 35, Station 31, and then Station 33, asphalt and pads, and the administrative portable repurposing. And those are directly reflected from the last meeting where Fire Chief Neely provided direction to include those into the plan.
And if I may, so Station 31, the only reason why there's no numbers is waiting for the architect to get back. We have scheduled a meeting with him, and he's supposed to be sending us either a contract or some sort of statement of work, proposal of work. He wants the engineer team to go through very thoroughly and make sure that everything that he's going to draw and build is in line with the structure itself. So that's our next step, and we're moving forward as we speak with those two projects. So I just wanted to give you, that's the only reason I don't got the number yet, but we'll put that in there. And if we have to finance or however that money is going to be, some of it's coming out of fire facility fee, then it'll be addressed in there. So.
Thank you, Chief. Are there any questions with the administrative capital improvement projects? Mr. Chair, moving forward then, we'll go to the suppression projects. And again, in the plan, you can see that we've got engine 32 and 33, the replacement. We're very close to having those items paid off. And then we've got the dive response and recovery vehicle. We've got the 2016 Ascendant Aerial, the Pearson Pell Type 1, and then the Impel Type 1 equipment, and then the Pierce International Type 3 and the Type 3 equipment. They're for suppression items. And those totals, again, reflected at the bottom. I'm available for any questions you might have on that.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And then obviously going in, we don't have any items in any projects, my apologies, included in the plan for the prevention side of things at this point. And any questions?
Any questions to the left?
And that
Oh, looks great.
Thank you.
To the right?
Good.
We will look for a motion and adoption of that one as we move forward. Or you want to do them all at once? We'll do them all at once.
We postpone it to do one group one.
Yeah.
If I may too, because some people watching on TV may wonder why we're not asking a lot of questions or whatever. This is a process that began a while back. So the board has been looking at all of these things. So hopefully all of our questions were already answered. This is more the formal process and for the public.
Moving on, 10.4.
Okay. So adopt the preliminary fiscal budget. We have already had a budget study session. We did make some changes to it, and we're going to go over those changes. And then we'll just kind of move through. If there's, you can stop me if you like and ask any questions. Again, this is the preliminary. We are required to adopt a preliminary at this time, and then the final budget will be in July. So we can still make changes and adopt other changes to that on the final budget. When I do bring it back in July, I do want to talk about maybe doing a 2-year budget. That's something a lot of the organizations have gone to. The city's doing 2-year budget. We could do a 2-year budget and everything would be in there. Every year we'd review it. If there was changes or we needed to make changes, we would, but it would be a simple review versus the whole budget going through it again. So we'll get started with this budget. So fiscal year 2019, 20, we had a projected balance of $750 for the reserve account, $380, which is going to be a fund balance of $1.1 million. I believe that changed, and we will be addressing that. I may not have got on the slide. Can we look through the? Yeah, it didn't make it onto this slide. So as of the last report we got, the year-to-date, we will be moving that, and that's going to be more like 1.6 million for the fund balance as of June 30th, 1990, and then you'll have the 381 that will be added to that, and we'll get that changed for the main budget. The preliminary now is still at 750. I haven't got the final numbers yet, so it's still very successful to have the 750 in there. Go ahead.
Hold on a minute. Just making sure. My screen's not up, so I gotta look at the paper because this is way too small. So we'll get a new one of these
Yep.
as well? Okay, I guess that was my question, because I don't know if the same one got in there or if we have the corrected one.
Yeah.
No, it's this one. So,
Yeah. I'll get it changed out, but we again, the numbers haven't been finalized as of, we're still waiting for the June number, but my projection is it'll be about 1.6 million fund balance instead of the 750. And the revenues will stay the same, and of course, that'll change the estimated ending budget in 2020 to what the addition will be. The rest of it is correct. The general fund, we do have revenues of 10.3 million, or 10.7, I'm sorry, and then expenditures of 10.3. The capital outlay is correct. We have a revenues at 50,000. That's what we transfer every year. That'll be transferred at the end of this next year. proposed. And then we also have expenditures of 390, and a part of that is to do with the MC 7500s with Stockton Fire, finishing that project up and completing that payment as soon as the job's done. The fire facility fee account, those projected numbers that we come out of there are all fire facility fee expenses out of the capital improvement plan. They're identified in there. And then the expenditures of that are 708. I do an estimated revenue. It's hard to predict how much money will come into the to the fire facility fee account, because it's all based on development. Measure C, we have a projected of 1.7 fund balance, revenues of 1.5, and then expenditures of 1.9, leaving a balance of 1.3. Okay.
Mr. Chair, if you don't mind. You mentioned the MCC 7500s, and that was under the fire
Capital.
facility? Or the
Capital outlay.
Capital outlay. Are we at risk of any violation of the terms with the grant because of the current status of that project?
So that's a good question. So the grant, the way it read is that we had to have the 3-trunk system up and running. The 3-trunk system is up and running. The original grant had an MC 7100, which is a mobile CAD. We had opted to go to the MC 7500s because they're not a mobile CAD, but mainly the portion of that has been installed except for the MC 7500. So all of the other trunking systems been done. So the grant's been completed in conception with what was the outcome of what the grant was supposed to have. We just haven't got the devices up yet, and so we've worked through that, and a lot of that is the extra money. It was actually for the installation of Stockton's MC 7500s. They attached to our RFP and purchased money, but at the time they were in bankruptcy and Motorola wouldn't go into contract with them. And so we were able to get it in the grant, and not necessarily in the grant, but get it the RFP to pay for it, which was a lot cheaper than what they were going to pay for them outside. And so that's why, but it's been sitting for 4 years, 5 years. I think they reached end of life. I don't know what they're finishing to do, but I've told them they need to complete it so that I can pay the rest of that bill. It's just a matter of paying the end of the bill at this point. But the grant did get fulfilled.
So the actions of the city of Stockton doesn't have any impact on putting us at jeopardy with the grant?
With the grant, no.
Okay.
It's just unfortunate.
Okay.
It hasn't been a great working relationship with that. We did a favor, so to speak, and they've ran into some, turnover and different problems, so
Okay.
it's unfortunate.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chair.
No, that's a good question. Thank you. So opening balance, tax revenue, this is what basis we have. We have an increase of over $500,000 in our tax revenue. A little bit higher than we projected. The tax security was 61, unsecured 10, a little bit less than our tax unsecured of the SB 813, and then prior taxes, less than $1. These are just some assumptions that we have to make because we're a little bit different than property tax and secured prior, $80. It's just been consistent through the years that we've got that, and so we just kept that on the books like that. The projected is a change of $593,000. Intergovernmental, this is broken down a little bit. You have other, which is the billing we do for vehicle accidents for residents, non-residents, and any excessive like DUIs we can charge for. That's kind of projected what we expect to get in there. And it's based on last year's actual. These are just budgeted numbers. The fire permit fees are 113. That went up 17,000. And then income, obviously, as we grow our account and we don't have to borrow money or teeter money from the from the county, we end up getting our income interest up. The homeowner property tax, that's our override tax. Excuse me, that's a separate tax. That's what happens with the homeowner property tax. It's taxes as if you buy a house, and I just experienced this recently, and there's half a year left that you have to pay taxes or whatever, 3 months on that when you buy the house. When you get your next bill, it's the full year plus any back taxes that they have. They don't charge you any fees for it, but it's that short portion in between. The property override tax is going up because we have building going on. It's 2.1 million. And other service and fees stays about 251 respectfully. And then plan check was a considerable amount, and that just explains the growth. It's 175,000, which is up 89,000. So it gives us an increase in the intergovernmental revenues of 299,000. Some of the other, we have many avenues of funding in our organization. That was one of our goals that we put forth, and we tried to secure additional funding. So as you see, there's CLSP, there's Major C, FEMA grant, which we have projected this year. We also have hazmat response, Station 31 O&M, which is where we receive money from the city for maintaining their gas and fuel dispensing. Strike team overtime, we don't put any money in there, but obviously last year we had a revenue of 900 and something thousand. It's hard to put that in there and make a budget work. We can look at the actuals. That really gives you an idea of what we bring in and what we expend on strike team money. We kind of spell that out, but we try not to budget for it in our budget because it could be a busy year, could be a slow year. Nevertheless, we did have a projected of 3.5 million, which was an increase revenue of 1.3, mainly because of the grant and of the Measure C. This is our projected salaries. Salary and benefits is the summary, 8.6. Administrative costs of 418. Support services, 287. Station and grounds, 137. Emergency operations, 306. Prevention, 5,000. Insurance was 346,000 this year. It's gone up, 95,000. Safety, health and safety stayed the same. City of Lathrop's loan fell off. They have been completely paid back, and
wow.
we are done. So that fell off. That's an increase in revenue, so to speak, because of the payments gone. And then total outlay payments, they total, based on the capital improvement plan, engine 32 and engine 33. And we have the $50,000, and that equals 138. That's what comes out of general fund. If you want to look at the life of engine, how much more we have to pay, I think we have one more year. I'd have to look at the capital improvement plan, but it's in there. I think we only have one more year and those payments will be done, but we'll be buying another engine to get replacement. I think engine 34 is due next, or engine, if I'm not mistaken, and we'll be purchasing that. So the big increase was the salary, obviously, and benefits, and I'll break that down a little bit for you. This is what we have scheduled. Not all those positions are filled, but we do have them right now. We have a fire chief, an administrative battalion chief, 3 battalion chiefs, 1 deputy fire marshal that's on there on the book. It's not been filled yet. A fire inspector, 2 fire inspectors, an executive assistant, a human resource administrator, an office assistant, an office clerk, 15 captains. There's no acting captains at this time scheduled. We have promoted the 3 acting captains that were there, and they are full captains. We have 12 engineers and 9 firefighters, and we have moved up, as the board has suggested, to 35 reserve personnel, giving us a total of 83 personnel. When we look at the salary and benefits, you can see that the salaries are going up. This year they have 3% increases in their salaries until their contract is up, which is next year. So that raised 211, plus we have people that are going through steps. We have a young group, so they're going through step increases. So some get the 3% and a 5% step increase as they move through. It's a merit increase. We moved overtime, the $900,000. That was an increase of $500,000 based on this budget study session that we're going to start staffing the rescue with overtime. So we moved it into that position. I'm still weighing whether, and I'll bring it back to the board, whether we want to hire 3 firefighters and maybe fill just the engineers with overtime. Something we want to look at as we move through the year. But until, like, again, as I expressed, I hate to hire people and then have to lay them off if the economy takes a dive. And going through it with the board, it's been painful when we had a tough time with the economy when it went down, and laying people off was just not something that really sat well with me. So I try to avoid it if I can. Other employee benefits, with just clothing allowance and other items, went up $9,000. The retirement's going up almost, was actually a little bit more than what the wages were because of the increase in retirement, and we had personnel increase. Social Security has gone up a little bit, so every time wages go up, Social Security is going to go up, and then the health insurance went up really relatively only $17,000 this year, which I know it still seems like a lot, but we've seen it go up in bigger chunks than that, so it was kind of encouraging. Overall, salaries and benefits and everything that went underneath it went up a little bit over $1 million. I think that's going to be our biggest hit. Office expenses went up 36. We have some iPads we have to replace. Those are in office, administrative costs. Memberships, we're making sure that we maintain that CSDA. That's a membership cost that was increased that we paid last year. And then tax admin charges, we have no control over. That's what the county charges us for our tax collection. However, that increased up 18,000. And then just a couple thousand here and there in payroll charges and direct assessment. Again, we don't have a whole bunch of change in that control with that. The county gets to choose that. Support services was up 103. Equipment and maintenance, and I don't have the battalion chief here, but he did explain at the budget study session that the cost is going to go up just based on the fact that we have more equipment and we're maintaining some of the items that we hadn't completely maintained before, getting ahead of them, making sure we have money budget for them instead of drawing out of our reserve. Tires, tubes, station maintenance, communications going up. We have portable radios that we have to buy and change out, and household expenses. The other one was emergency operations, and we did have an increase on some of those items. Firefighter supplies went up 28,000. PPE and uniforms went up 42,000. Public relations training, 46,000, and some of that's to make sure that we get everybody trained. The board's getting training. All that's been added into the budget. And EMS supplies, because of we have Narcan and Epi. Those medications have a shelf life, and we have to go through that stuff pretty quick. Prevention went up a couple thousand. Insurance, 95,000 for workman's comp, and that's again based on payroll. They increase, and then so the total expenditures went up 1.7. This is the organizational chart. Wow, it didn't turn out too well on the slide as I thought it was going to. Sorry about that. That's kind of tough to read. So we obviously have the board of directors that are above the fire chief, and then administration, which is broken out separately, and then you have operations, prevention, finance, and human resources. And each one of those has categories, not necessarily personnel underneath them, but for instance, they handle all of those expectations of that. This one's a little bit better, so you get to the fire chief, Gene Neely, and then executive assistant. We have the deputy fire marshal is vacant, and then the administrative chief, Chief Madowski, human resources, Haley Salazar, and office clerk, Rhoda Rhodes. I broke this out for the board. They can see how much is costing each individual position. So when you look at administration, the people that are in there, And how many people, their 5.25 are under that, and how much is in wages, how much administrative cost goes towards those people, and how much all of the other categories are actually allocated towards those individuals. Then in prevention, obviously the fire chief is ultimately the fire marshal. You have a permits clerk, fire inspector Elliott, and fire inspector Goldberg. Again, here's the prevention broken down and the cost of all that personnel to get that done. This really is important when we start looking at how we are charging fees. One of the things that we'll be bringing back in the next couple months is the fee change. A lot of, even the county has increased their fees for inspections. So we'll be bringing that back through the board, and they have final approval on that.
Chief,
Suppression, yep.
I'm sorry, on page 9, it's right after, on the book, it's right after the personnel, and
This one?
it's the map. Yeah, it's just, I'm looking at the book.
Oh, okay.
I can ask the question later, go ahead.
Oh, I don't have the map, but we can go to
Yeah,
that.
no, I was just.
So
I was-
prevention, I'm almost done. This is just
Yeah.
expense suppression, and then here's where we're allocating Measure C. So in the book, which, the map, yes.
No, the question is that that whole shade of yellow around Manteca, that's our district?
Yes.
So we are technically, wow, huge.
We are a large
didn't-
district.
We surround Manteca on all sides. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, we are very large. We completely surround Manteca. There is a point where they touch Ripon now.
Oh, that's right, I see it.
Yeah, right there, right there, it's a little bit further on, this map hasn't been updated, I need to get
Wow.
a new updated map, but they do touch Ripon a little bit more. But yeah, we are completely surrounded, and there's a section up where it goes straight up at the top, where they touch French Camp district right there. But yeah, it's, we are a very large district. We're close to 100 square miles, still, but more so, we are the largest district operationally. And what I mean by that is when you look at special districts, we have the most firefighters, professional and reserve. We have the biggest budget of any special district. I don't think there's any special district that touches $10 million. I think there's a couple that go to $4 million when I was looking through some of the other stuff. But we have the largest budget. We have the largest amount of full-time personnel. And stations, I think 5. I think Woodbridge has 5. 4? They have 4? So we have 5 stations. So I think we're the largest station-wise too. If you wanted to look at South County Fire Authority as a special district, which they're really a JPA, and only Tracy Rule is really the special district portion of that, we're larger than them now.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're going to be growing. We are going to be building Station 6 here pretty soon, and Station 7 right after that, and then eventually Station 8. So as we continue to grow and things are happening in the district, we're going to be larger than, I don't know, some of the stations may fall off depending on how big Manteca grows. We may have to, but the city of Lathrop is going to have, it is brought in a significant amount of money, and that's due to override tax, and the board's decisions to, in the past too, is to, we have a decent base for property tax. It's been kind of volatile at times. The override tax has saved us a lot, but the Measure C it's been really nice to have. I mean, it's almost 2.5 million this year, and so that's a huge amount, and that provides a great service model for the city of Lathrop.
Wow.
And as I told their board, that my board appreciates the hard work and the cooperation that they have. However, the board gets to, you get to pick and choose where that money gets spent. So the 40% was a great idea. As we move forward, and the citizens appreciate it because they have a phenomenal fire department. And the rule, receives that benefit also. So. Overall, the 5-year model shows that we're looking really good. These numbers do show the increase of this was done. And so the 2.2 million will be our reserve as we move forward through the years, and projection to increase. So, but with that, as we look at our reserve, we have to remember they recommend you have a minimum of 2 months operating expenses. And so that's 16%. So as we go forward, we want to keep, somewhere around 20, and then our fiscal policy asks us to go to 35. So it doesn't say we have to be at 35, but that would be the optimal to be there. With that, I would also like to recommend that we start looking at pulling away from the county as our treasurer.
Oh, yes.
We're getting into a position where we won't have dry funding, which is, I thought would be unheard of in our for us, because we've teetered for so long. But we will maybe be in the position by this next fiscal year to look at pulling them out and having our own treasury.
Perfect.
Yeah, so. We do have a comment card.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, we have a request for public comment. Resident Benny Gatto regarding item 10.4.
Thank you, Chair, Commission, Directors. Yeah, at one time, we did cover 100 square miles. And as the Chief noted, with Manteca keep annexing, I think we're down into the 80, 85 mile range now. But still, that's a big district, a lot of area to cover. Chief, I don't want to put you on the spot, but where do we show in the budget, or going to show in the budget, where the reimbursement from River Islands for building Station 35? How's that going to come about?
So it won't come out of the budget so much as,
we won't have revenue.
right.
Yeah.
So the way the agreement works with River Islands is this. The River Islands built a station, part of the mitigation agreement for the development and impact fees. We collect impact fees there. So the way it works is every year we will do an analysis of how much revenue we brought in for the station. But there's more than just the station. There's the engine, 35, there's brush 35, and eventually there'll be truck 35. But right now it's just the brush and the engine. Those payments come out first. So let's just do it, like, again, we don't know what the number is gonna be, but I think the year prior to, we've collected somewhere around $400, maybe $500,000. Let's use that as a round number, $500,000. So if we collect $500,000, the payment for engine 2 is $102,000, and it is in the CIP that explains this. The payment for engine 2 is $102,000, and then the payment for the brush is $70,000. That comes off the top of the money that comes out, because if they stop building, we still have to make those payments. So that money comes right off the top, those two payments. Whatever's left over then will be reimbursed to River Islands at that point. So it's hard to put that number in the budget because I won't know what the revenue side of it is, but that's how that agreement is spelled out.
Okay. That's, I didn't know how it was gonna be showed on your budget, because it's actual revenue that's supposed to be coming in. But we're not gonna get it because we gotta pay it back,
Right.
correct?
Correct. So the CIP will show the revenue. The fire facility fee report will show what we've received, because I have to account for that. And the CIP will show what, and the fire facility report will actually give you more information. Will show you what we've expended. So when you look at the CIP, when I do next year's capital improvement plan, you're going to see, obviously, the payments were made for the two engines that I just mentioned. But then you'll see Station 35, that will have what we gave them that year. And then I track it through that. So every year as we give money towards it, it will accumulate so that we'll know how much money was given. Does that make sense?
What's confusing is the word given.
I'm sorry. in what
No,
sense?
no, I just got a little confused there. So in other words, development pays its own way. So any cost incurred because of development, like more staff because we need more personnel, whatever, is paid by development. But when you say, I'm trying to find a way to understand it. So we did it kind of the other way around. Most of the time, the money all comes in, and then we pay to build the station. In this particular case, the money is coming in, but they build it. So are we going to have the breakdowns of, this should have come out this year? Are we going to have a tally?
Yes.
So we know when it's coming down? Because technically, we still need to know how much money is coming in, even though we're just crediting it to, I guess it's a loan. Is that a good way to say it?
Well, it's not a loan because we're not obligated to pay it every year. It's paid based
Yeah.
on the fees that collect. So when normally, if we were to wait to build the station, we'd have to wait till that half of that development was built.
Development is done, yeah.
Before we could build it, and it needs a fire station before then.
Yeah.
That's why we went into a mitigation agreement to say, well, you're gonna have to build the station, and then we'll reimburse you, is maybe the word better to be, the fees as we collect them, which development pays their way. So as we collect fees for them selling houses, based on the square footage of how we collect fire facility fees, they get reimbursed back to them.
Oh, now, okay,
Yeah.
I got it now. So they're still gonna pay it? We're
yeah.
just gonna, okay. See, I was trying to see how are we going to have the accounting of the fees that are coming
Yep.
in?
So
But
we still-
because they upfronted
Yes.
what they were going, okay, I got it.
And we
now.
own that station. There's no ifs, ands. We are in an agreement in our agreement that we reimburse them the fees as we collect them. But that's why I want to stay away from the loan idea.
Yeah, no, it's
because
not a loan.
It's not a loan.
It's
Yeah.
money that is owed to the district, but it's as it grows. So
Right.
what they did is they upfronted it. But
Right.
we're still gonna get the fees and then pay it back, and then if we ever get to a point where we've paid it all back, then that stays with the district.
Absolutely, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
okay.
Sorry about that, and you're absolutely
it,
right. So
got it.
we know how much we're collecting in that area, and we're tracking that because we track every area we collect in. However, the district can spend fire facility fees however they see fit.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we collect them in that area doesn't mean you have to spend them in that area. You can spend them anywhere you want. There's no law that says you can spend them. However, the board has taken an understanding that, that development is causing the impact is there, and we're gonna spend the fees where the impact has been, because that's, the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But as you see, as we do the fire facility fees being redone, as we do that, you're gonna understand a little bit more of how those fees are collected throughout the whole district and spent throughout the whole district, and based on impact. But every year for this one specifically, I will be bringing back an analysis for you to actually see what was collected, where that money was spent, and what was I say reimbursed, but that's really what it is. What was given back, reimbursed to them for fronting up the cost for the station. Because we didn't have the money, we'd had to take a loan and we'd had to pay interest. This is a zero interest reimbursement. It was the best thing for this district.
Yeah, I like that method. It just creates this confusion as to who owns it.
Right,
The station is owned by the district.
absolutely.
Yeah. And it belongs to the entire district.
Thank you.
No, thank you. No, it was a
Poor
good
Betty, I
question.
jumped in.
No, it was a good question.
Any questions from my left?
Question.
You say question or no question?
No.
Oh, no question.
Is that right?
No.
Entertain a motion to approve 10.2, 10.3, and 10.4.
I'll make the motion to approve 10.2, adopt and approve 10.3 and 10.4.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded, roll call?
Director Rhodes?
Yes.
Director Ko?
Yes.
Director Ishihara?
Yes.
Vice Chair Elliott?
Yes.
Chairman Gish?
Informational items, 1.1.
So 11.1, our lead inspector, Josh Elliott, is going to come up and do the presentation.
All right.
Check, check, check. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good evening, Chairman, Vice Chair, and Board. I'm going to present to you guys the update on this new development for 2018-2019. So today we're going to talk about some new residential that's come in, commercial that's within city limits, commercial that's also within our district. So what we wanted to do is kind of give you a snapshot of what the residential homes are looking like in River Islands, and these are a few. And I've categorized them by what their actual areas are per the development. So we got Anthem United Reflections, Watermark, Beacon Bay, Lakeside, Crystal Cove, and Summer House. Castaway, Bridgeport, and Lakeside 2. So we have, within the time span of January 1st, 2018 to May 6th, 2019, there's been roughly about 462 permits issued, totaling a total of 1,244, with a projected of around 11,000 homes within this 20-year build-out. Okay, and that's also including those that have been in the rural district area as well, Oakwood Shores, and various custom homes. So now we're transitioning over into our new commercial within the city. 17100 Murphy Parkway, this new Tesla building, has brought in $374,000 roughly within fire facility fees, and we're really close to finishing up this project. The big one, the 1.1 million square foot, this has brought in roughly around $488,000 in fire facility fees, and this is also really getting close to getting finished as well. They're looking into moving in here really soon. Pratt Industries, catty corner to SSI Industries, 2131 Louise Avenue, 622,000 square foot, brought in about $267,000 in fire facility fees. This has actually been complete, and what they actually do is they are 100% recycled. They create cardboard boxes, Lowe's, Home Depot, and they do a really good job. Actually hooked us up with when we had to move over Station 35. Other commercial within our city, Ashley Furniture, Home Depot, Brad Urban. New commercial that's under construction, we have Panda Express, a new Starbucks, In-N-Out, and also Round Table Pizza. New commercial within the district. So right off of Manthe Road, we have Blue Rhino. What they did is they actually have built a manufacturing facility where they do everything from processing, cleaning, refabricating liquid petroleum gas, LPG tanks. Let's go back. Delicado Family Vineyards. This is out in 33's district. They have built a new warehouse. They are actually outgrowing. So what they had to do is they had to build roughly around an 800,000 square foot warehouse for production, storage, things of that nature. So now we're going to the proposed. I know I didn't have this in the beginning, but we're gonna throw a little curveball at you guys. This is all proposed residential. New hotels, 161 East Louise Avenue, True Hotel by Hilton. The status on this one, it's been approved by the Planning Commission. Plans have been submitted and approved, and right now they're just getting the process of starting the grading process. Fairfield Inn and Suites by Marriott. This is actually gonna be right next to the Target complex. And this has been approved by planning. new apartments, the Mossdale Landing Apartments, right off of the 5. 10 buildings, 208 units. I know Lathrop's been in high need for apartments, and now we're finally getting those in. And the status on this is the grading permits have been in progress. Town Center Apartments, actually right over here, right across the street and right next door to us. The status is actually they have submitted their building permits, so we're actually in the process of reviewing those and collecting the fire facility fees once we've finished the review. Proposed new commercial, or actually this is residential, so this is actually going to be Stanford Crossing, which is in that area where Spartan Way and Golden Valley Parkway is at. So this is the same area where we'll have the July 1st event. And that's going to be projected hopefully within January of next year. They're going to start breaking ground after they install storm drain, sewer, and those type of utilities. I wish that came up a little better. This is the Failing Gateway project right off of Yosemite and McKinley. You got about 10 buildings. I know Chairman Ishihara and Chairman Rhodes have been really involved in this project, one of the other ones in the Gateway project. This is the Crow, South Lathrop, Tri-Point, Lathrop Commerce Master Plan. And this has been approved by planning. We have building 1 actually started. And this is actually really, really recent. So Kraft Heinz is actually expanding and is outgrowing their facility on 500 Luis Avenue. They're proposing to have a 700,000 square foot industrial sized warehouse, mostly cold storage, in the process really, really soon to submit plans. Any questions?
Good presentation.
That trucking on McKinley and Louise is coming on, right?
Yeah, they're actually, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to incorporate that in. They started the grading on that, and they're actually pouring concrete and throwing up that guard shack. The timeline on that is going to be within 4 to 5 months, depending on how fast and the weather cooperates with them. Yeah.
So that's another trucking from last night. So an additional truck.
So as you can see, there's a lot of growth. Great job, Josh. First time presenting to the board, you did a good job. Thank you very much for your presentation. If you have any questions for him, he can answer. He's been really the pulse on the or the thumb on the pulse for what's been going on in our prevention and development, and assisting with development projects and meeting with DRC meetings. He's been doing a phenomenal job. I appreciate all the help he's been given with that. But we have a lot of growth in the city, and some of those buildings, the next building over in Crow Holding?
Tri-Point, yeah, Tri-Point.
Yeah, Tri-Point?
Yeah.
Is 1.3 million. Yeah, and so I think 1.1, we thought that was a big building. The next one is 1.3 million, and they want to start. PG&E's holding us up. That's who's holding us up right now because they got to take care of the line. So other than that, we are full steam ahead, and there's a lot of development, and a lot of growth in the organization. So it's encouraging. It really is. So as long as the economy stays well, we should be in good shape. So thank you, Josh, for any
Thank you,
questions
sir.
from the board.
No, I just want to
that's
compliment.
Good presentation.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
No, I just want to compliment Josh. You got thrown after Steve, left us. Josh was throwing a crash course, So you've done an excellent job. I commend you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Doge. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to beat Steve up when we see him next time.
11.2, Chief's report.
So the Behind the Fire did really well at the pancake breakfast. I think they made somewhere around 3,500 or 28.
Yeah.
It was $2,800, I think, with donations and everything. Yeah, it really turned out good. I think it came out really well. The breakfast, it was I think a lot of people came. A lot of people at the end came, and we had ran out of pancakes and different things. So it was well attended. So I think next year we'll keep on that same path. We've talked about doing something for Christmas and working with the city on that. So we'll move forward with those objectives. One of the things that I would suggest for them to do is maybe a barbecue this year, even if we did it over, at the boathouse at River Islands. There's a big park, there's bocce courts, there's a volleyball court. I've been talking to them about maybe doing a barbecue this year, putting up a jump house that you can fish. If you had a boat, you could go out there and canoe or paddleboard, and it gives a little bit of options for everything, you know what I mean, for the family. So I've been asking them to look at that. So I think we'll move forward with and then of course we have the fireworks booth coming up, and that's going to be starting the 28th. So we've been getting a lot of people putting in for that and wanting to staff that and doing well, and we get a lot of help from Debbie over there. She maintains all of the inventory and keeps all the permits ready. The upcoming conferences, just to remind the board, we have the conferences coming up on July
7th through the 10th.
7th through the 10th. And do we have other ones you wanted to talk about?
No. September? The other one is
Yep.
September.
So we got one so we got the Napa, leadership coming in San Diego. Then we got the Special District Leadership Academy in Napa in July. That's this one, right?
No.
And then the CSDA, the annual conference in September. So that would be a good one if you can't make the leadership conference in July. In September, if you guys can make that one, that'd be a great one to attend. And I think that's where they give out any of the awards that we apply for and we get. So that'd be a good one to attend.
Some of us are going to the July one.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
We'll get the paperwork and everything soon.
Yep. We'll have that ready, your itineraries, and then transportation and all that. We'll have that all spelled out for you. Whether we go because I'm waiting to see how everything, but I think I'll be attending, and so you could ride up with me, and I'll have a district vehicle if you want to ride together, or we can make arrangements. We'll figure it out. If you're going to go up, then we'll meet you up there, however you want to attend. The CSDA is in Anaheim this year, so that's all board and staff. We do have, what else? I think that was it for the chief's.
Excuse me, Chief, on that one, the one in September, is there a time for fees? Because I know this one that we're going, if it's past June, they add a extra fee for it. Is that the same with the other one the one in Anaheim?
Yeah, it will be. I don't know what the
There's
early bird,
sign
there's
up.
an early bird where they give you a discount, yeah.
Early bird, yeah, sign up, okay.
Yeah, so we'll have that information for you. At the next meeting, we'll have that. Yeah. Other than that, the district's been going good. I'm a little superstitious, so I'm gonna knock on wood, but we have a great relationship with our working labor force, and the board has been phenomenal, and so I think moving forward, we're in a good position. We just gotta stay the course and make sure that we're looking out for anything that's hidden and correcting it, and I think we've done a good job with that, so I look for any direction from the board at this point.
Any board comments? Start to left.
Just like to thank the staff, doing a great job. I want to thank the firefighters for helping at the senior center, always serving. Today I was at the senior center, and a couple of them made comments on that, just saying, positive comment. And I think that's really good when you get comments from people, because, like I said, you can put it in paper, but to me, it doesn't mean anything, but because it's not really trustful unless you come from an individual. Because you know that's true when it comes from an individual. So, but I want to thank the firefighters, and I want to thank the people that are here.
Question regarding all the media regarding PG&E and the projected outages. How have we done any planning for that? And how does a 2 to 5 day electrical outage affect any of our stations?
So we have done some planning for that. It's twofold, because we have the rural part of our district and we have the Lathrop part. And on the Lathrop, we sit as part of the incident management team that's been ramped up and been working towards trying to figure out how we're going to handle a lot of the situations that have been, you've talked about, like Manteca City had a big meeting and that was in the paper today. And so and this is going to take a couple minutes, so I hope you bear with me, but so one of the things that's beneficial to the city of Lathrop is that they're a young city, and so and they sit in a floodplain, so they've done a lot of preparation to having backup generators at all their pump stations that already exist. Where Manteca City has pointed out that doesn't exist necessarily where they're at, it does exist in the city of Lathrop. I think they have one pump station or a lift station. I'm not even sure if it's a pump station that doesn't have a generator, and they're making arrangements right now as we speak. It probably may be already done to have something sitting over there if they need to put it in action. So the main things that we focus on within our district and within that we have concerns with, because we can't control sewer and water in our district, but the main thing in the city is sewer and water and fire and police. That happens. And so how the rural area is going to benefit from us being involved with everything is that we'll be able to maintain all of the services that we have. So fire, looking at from our organization separately, all our stations have generators. We've always built them with generators. We just replaced Station 33 not too long ago. Station 32 got replaced a while ago. The only problem with some of the rural stations is those generators run minimal stuff. They run like the refrigerator, the alarm room, and the garage doors. But who would have foreseen the 2 to 5 day shutdown? Typically, fire stations are built to be without power for maybe a day at the most, and you work through not having an air conditioner, and you work through not having some of that stuff. Station 4, so Station 1 and 2, and 2, 3 in the rural area that have generators. 1 has a generator. We're going to be replacing that with the remodel, and we're going to be expanding it, especially now that we see the need for it. But it does also have a generator that runs the doors and the refrigerator, I believe, and then you have the lights, a couple lights in the bay, and the alarm room, which the radios are hooked up to. Station 4 has a little bit bigger generator, and we're actually looking at expanding that. They still did the minimal. They did the garage doors, the refrigerators, and a couple lights and some computers in the alarm room. But there's more. So I had staff look at how big that generator and how much we could run off it, and they're giving me the actual quote along with what we can add to it. There's a bunch more circuits we can add to it. We won't be able to do the air conditioners at any point at Station 4 unless we replace the generator, but they will be able to have more accessibility to electrical and different items at that station. So we're in the process of that. Station 5, on the other hand, that generator runs the whole station. So when that generator is up and running, it runs the AC, it runs the heaters, it runs everything. And it has, we did that one right. So it has a 300-gallon tank on the generator, and it's next to the fuel tank, which has 1,500 gallons in it. So that thing can run for 3 or 4 days and still maintain absolutely every electrical thing that it has more. If I had an electrical cord, I could run it from that station to Station 4 and supply almost half of that station. But the things that we are looking at for our organization are how are we going to fuel them, right? Some are on propane, some are on natural gas, which is fine. That's not going to be a problem because we understand that the gas should still be functioning. Should. But some are on diesel. And so as we work through that, we have already looked at contracting our fuel provider, and we're putting them on contract that we'll be able to utilize them, and we'll be able to share that cost with the city of Lathrop. That's how I'm leading to how we do the IMT. Because to pay for a fuel tender to be there all the time, we're going to have to pay for 24 hours. The city's going to need fueling too. They need fueling at their generators. So we're going to work together and combine, and we're going to split out those costs, obviously, as they fuel my rural areas, because they'll get assigned to do those also. They'll be able to fuel our stations inside the city's generators. So we're already looking for how are we going to function and provide water, sewer, right? You got to have water. You got to be able to use your bathroom. And then you won't have electricity, but you'll have police services and you're going to have fire services. I can't speak for the sheriff in the rural area, but I know the sheriff is already ramping up and expecting, potential increased call services. We are also going to expect that. We'll be ramping up our staffing as those days come about. So we're already looking ahead, trying to figure out how we're going to get there. One of the other things, I've already secured food and ice and other items that we're going to need for our personnel because we're still going to have to maintain a staffing level, and those people are going to need to be fed. They're going to need cold water to drink when they're out there, and they're going to need to be have sleeping arrangements made. So we've already secured some of that, and I'll just hold off on speaking about that.
Okay.
Did I answer most of it?
Yes.
Okay.
The other piece to that is social media has been going nuts about everyone running out buying generators and how they're going to hook up to their house. Have we done any? I know the city recently posted something about you need a permit to do all that stuff. Do we tie into that at all? Is there any prevention steps we've done so you can't just hook up your generator to your house and hook it up however you want?
Right. And so that's my fear, to be honest, is that people, and I've expressed this to a few people, and is that people are going to think that they can some people think that they can just plug their generator into a plug and reverse the current flow. That doesn't work very well. You're just going to charge that one circuit, and you're just going to end up blowing it. Some people think that they can just connect wires in their box. The only proper way to do a generator is to put a transfer switch in, and that costs money, and have a transfer switch established and do that. The other alternative, and it's been mentioned on social media, which we are not recommending, is running a ton of extension cords to plug into your things. And we have talked about that a little bit in my office. There was some concern about that. I hate to be telling everybody they can't run an extension cord because people don't understand that extension cords are they're like water when it's running through a hose. It has a friction loss. And, we get a lot of fires because they're not going to want to leave their door open either because, so they're going to try to shut their door with their extension cord in there. That causes friction. It causes a kink. We've had a lot of fires start from that. So we haven't gone full social media because we want to be cooperative with the city. And when that comes out, that will be some of the stuff that we will express. So we did see that they posted a lot of stuff on how to do a generator. People are buying a lot of generators. There's going to be a lot of people who are contractors who are going to do whatever they want. And it's going to be hard for us to police that. We don't recommend that. We recommend that if you put a generator in place, that it is specifically hooked up to a transfer switch that is appropriately installed by an electrician that knew how to install that transfer switch, and that it doesn't feed back into the system. Because that's the other flip side of that, is that when you charge without a transfer switch, that current that you're putting in will eventually go back into the lines, and it goes back into the system of what's not being used. So it's a complicated situation. You're going to have, in the city of Lathrop, you're going to have, over 24,000 people that are going to be looking for generators and how to run their TV and how to run their refrigerator, because that's going to be the next thing. We recommend people be prepared for 5 days without food, and they'll have water, but without food. And it should be some sort of learning how to use a can opener with that food, because you can cook it, but it's going to be the refrigeration of meats that are going to be the challenge. And so that's where I see people running extension cords. I saw that on social media too. I'm going to plug my refrigerator, my TV, and a fan, I think. But we know people are going to try to run their air conditioners, and we've also heard of a couple statements that people are buying the batteries from Tesla, and that the Tesla is saying that they'll run your whole house for 7 days. So we don't know how that's all working out. We know that solar works, most solar is on the grid, so when the PG&E is down, you're not going to get solar power unless you have it hooked up to a battery.
Correct.
Yeah, you have to have that.
So
So not only do you have the fire hazards from the extension cords and stuff, you also have the exhaust from the generator, you have the sound from the generator. There's all these factors that people aren't taking into consideration. And I just see that increasing more calls of service. You're gonna have more medical issues, you're gonna have more because of the heat with no AC. I'm just curious how prepared we are for that scenario.
So we're running through one of the cooling stations that we think that we're pretty sure that's going to be in place in River Islands is going to be Station 35, and that'll be a charging station for people to come in. We are looking at PG&E does have it's a confidential sheet of people that are on medical supplied stuff, and we're getting those addresses as we speak. We have to sign a confidentiality sheet to get that, and then we'll be able to hopefully provide that service if we need to. If they're non-ambulatory and we need to go to their house to be able to charge stuff, we're going to try to make arrangements for that. But we recommend people let us know, and so we can get a list together, and that way we can make sure we're serving our constituents.
Other than that, thank you for the large agenda packet. I know it all takes time from everyone in the office to line staff, and appreciate everything you guys do.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Comments to the left. Or to the right? To the right. Left.
Depends how you're facing.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, great job. The budget information is very thorough and very expansive, so thank you. And also to all the staff that's created it, because I know that, it's taken a huge team, so thank you. You guys are doing a wonderful job. Thank you.
And July the 4th is approaching. One of the things that I've noticed in my backyard with all my trees is that even though the drought is done and water is not an issue anymore, trees have gotten very, very dry, which is something that happens after you've had a drought, then you've had a lot of water. What ends up happening is you end up with a bigger problem. So this is just to find out, because we know there's a lot of people out there that like to shoot the illegal fireworks. I mean, they put on shows that not even Disneyland puts on. How's it going to go this year in terms of, because I know at one point we were going out, but then it became overwhelming, and then we didn't have the power to sight. And how is it going to go this year?
So similar as last year, we're going to be putting crews out with police force at the same time. So I talked to the chief from the city of Lathrop, and they're actually doing some stuff coming up shortly. But we're going to be staffing fire personnel with officers, and they're going to be rotating through and patrolling the areas, and then we're going to be citing and so much we can cite. We have the authority under the Lathrop Code to cite. The problem is just getting into a complicated situation. That was the problem we had the first year. So we want to make sure that we have law enforcement there. It is unfortunate that people are taking advantage of, the safe and sane firework opportunity to shoot off illegal fireworks. And it's just one accident away. It's just a matter of something happening and people getting hurt. And so I was speaking with the PIO for the sheriff. So next Wednesday, we're going to do some live feed, and we're going to be working with the EOD. And the EOD is going to be showing, we're going to be blowing up fruit and showing people the dangers of
Oh, good.
fireworks. And we're looking at doing Facebook Live for that. So I have some more information. I'll have staff send it out to you. So if you want to watch it, you can. But we are looking for a spot. She emailed me the other day, and we're just trying to make sure that we get as many people watching that. So we'll probably put it on our webpage and make sure that everybody can tune in if they want to and see or put it on our Facebook and the what happens when you hold a firecracker or something and the illegal fireworks and it blows up. So we're trying to work on that. We're trying to get that communication, do a little bit more
Is there
outreach.
anything that residents can do in terms of, I mean, last year and the year before, same thing. I mean, we'll sit in the front yard, we'll wet everything down, our roof, our trees, everything gets wet down. But you can see the flames coming down and landing on the grass, on the roofs. Is there anything we can do also for citizens?
Well, we still can, I think we're looking at that app. I'm not sure if it's running still. Do you know well, let me look a little bit further on that and potentially have something for you. But there's an application where you can actually put in the address of where the fireworks are being done, and then we can cite them on that.
Okay, perfect.
So that's really been done. It was done in the county. We've been working with the county, with the district attorney to try to enforce a lot more. It's just there's so much of it. And so we're hoping to try to get it at its source. But that's the problem. It's feeding in so fast that we can't control it. And then what makes it hard is they're starting to understand that if they put it in the middle of the street and it's in the middle of a house or it's down at their neighbor's house, their neighbors are getting cited, and then they're going to court. And so it's just unfortunate. People are that inconsiderate.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, with no further business, we'll adjourn the meeting to the next regular meeting, July 18th, 7 o'clock here at City Hall.
Thank you.
So they want to keep these overnight, we just let them sit there then?